Is there anybody listening? Is there anyone that sees what's going on? Read between the lines, criticize the words they're selling. Think for yourself and feel the...
Good morning and welcome back to the Trailer Park. I am Chanda-Masta and this is your midweek recap. Happy Wednesday out there to everybody. Let's get logged into these chats. Anthony Edwards, I see you on Kick. Thank you for being there and thank you for helping me out. Oh, the red door. Oh, there's so many meanings behind the red door, isn't there? But I used to love Elizabeth Ardan's red door perfume when I was in high school. Even that smell takes me right back to 40 years ago. You know, my 30th high school reunion was on Saturday night. And I only live like 3 counties away from where I grew up. But the thing is with Facebook, is there really any need to go to a high school reunion anymore? I mean, the whole point of going back in the day, right, was to catch up with people who you'd lost years ago, you know, to ask people about other people, to see how everybody turned out, you know, what do they look like? Did they get fat? Did they get ugly? Are they rich? Are they influential? You know, that was the reason you went to a high school reunion. Or to show off, look at how well I turned out, right? I've actually never gone to any of my high school reunions, but since Facebook and all these social media platforms, you know, there's what is that, schoolmates.com. I mean, we're all on all those sites, right? So I know where everybody's at. I've reconnected with everybody. And from my understanding, like only a few people showed up for our high school reunion, and they had it at the worst bar in our old hometown, which is Hickville, USA. Let me tell you, it's like a meth capital. So yeah, I didn't miss much, but did any of you go to your high school reunions? How was it? Should I have gone? Should I have gone? I don't know. I had disdain for those people back then. Why would I want to go now? That's kind of the way I feel about it. How is everybody out there? The weather is kicking our asses all over the place. If you are in the southeast, my prayers are with you. My thoughts are with you. Please, please be safe. We have lots of brothers and sisters out there that are fleeing, that have evacuated. And we're going to talk about that. I did run in and grab you guys a few clips this morning of the hurricane. But fair use, first of all, fair use. We are on YouTube this morning. So I am just merely commentating, speculating, and giving my opinion. And if you are interested in anything I talk about, please go do your research, man. I just scratch the surface. I bring you ideas and I let you run with them. Good morning, V. How are we this morning? Hi, Ozzy. Corky's here. Anthony's in the house. Kate made it. Hi, Kate. Uncle Warren. Hey, Shanda and pals. You all stay safe down there in the southeast with the hurricane. Yes, please. Popeye, you're going to be in Portland? Oh, you're so close to me. If I only had a running vehicle, the things I could do. I literally have canceled my whole entire spring and summer and that goddamn car. So you guys knew it was eating tires, right? I didn't know I was eating tires. I had blowouts in June, so I replaced the tires. Of course, I did the whole oil change, blah, blah, blah. And then I take it into Les Schwab. They go, oh, you need brakes. And I go, okay. So I get an estimate for the brakes and they go, oh, you need the whole undercarriage rebuilt in your vehicle. That's why it's eating tires. And I'm like, okay, well, let's do the cheapest one first, which was the brakes, which wasn't that cheap. It was almost $1,000. And then they get halfway into it and go, oh, you don't need new brakes. Like, how did I drive my vehicle 50,000 miles and I don't need brakes? I don't think you guys know what the hell you're talking about. So that is where I am at on that. Or I come see you, Popeye. I really would. Good morning, Rokfin. Fred, hurry up with the coffee. Where are you, Fred? Kate needs some coffee. And where else are we? We are up on Rumble this morning. Belle of the night. Hi, Kate. Welcome. She says, "Hi, Kate," or they say, "Hi, Kate." It's so hard with these handles, right? And we try not to use pronouns when we call them out, but we're human beings. We've been programmed to use pronouns forever. Peace, Dove. Good morning, all. Much love back to you. Okay, we're going to get started as people file in. It's crazy. Monday mornings, like there's like 50 or 70 of you just like, Wednesdays are like the quietest mornings. And then guess what? I'm doing a Friday Uncensored because you guys know we took a hit for medical misinformation on Saturday. So that's just pushing me to move all of the COVID conversations and information to Uncensored Fridays. So I'm calling this Friday COVID Friday because we got a lot to talk about and I can't talk about it here on the YouTube. So join me Friday morning over on Rokfin, Rumble, Kick, and everywhere else where free speech is actually free. And we'll talk about the continuing tyranny they're going to unleash on us in September. Okay, first let's get started with GoFundMe and what the hell they're doing. You guys know I normally give you guys all my donation links at this point of the show, but I had to change a few things, and that is due to GoFundMe. So let's hear from Nico about what they've done to the gray zone, and then we'll talk some more about what they've done to me.
GoFundMe decided to freeze the fundraiser for the gray zone after they raised over $90,000 for their investigative work. GoFundMe cited external concerns as to why they ultimately chose to freeze the Gray Zone's fundraiser. Now, personally, I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I would be willing to bet that those external concerns rhyme with CIA, especially considering that this isn't even the first time that Gray Zone's team members have been heckled by big tech and government entities for their investigative reporting. For example, upon entering London, Kate Clarenberg was interrogated for 5 hours by counterterrorism police about the Gray Zone. Then there was a time that the managing editor of the Gray Zone reported on Ukraine targeting civilians in the Donbass region, and as a reward for his stellar investigative journalism, PayPal and Venmo permanently deactivated his accounts without any real explanation as to why. As most of you probably know, this isn't even the first time that GoFundMe is engaged in these antics. We can look at what they did to Mint Press, or the time that they took millions of dollars from the truckers that were striking in Canada and just decided they were going to keep the money. GoFundMe is simply proving once again that it is just another establishment, big tech asset who is tasked with censoring anyone who dared to tell the truth about the empire.
That is so true. So there was a lot that wasn't in that little clip, like how many times us and independent media for years now have been targeted by GoFundMe, especially if you are fundraising, say, to support Julian Assange. If you even mention Julian Assange's name in your little story, schematic, whatever the rundown they make you put in, they shut you off. They shut me down in October. Remember, we went to DC to support Julian Assange, and they shut my campaign down. Now, a year before that, when we went into DC to support Assange, they had shut down like the Convo Couches GoFundMes. And here's the thing: I have used GoFundMe since 2016. For a gamut of different reasons. When my partner had a massive heart attack, had to have a double bypass, it was a lifesaver because we had no other means in a medical crisis for help, right? And that's why so many Americans use it. Plus we've used it for, traveling with the Bernie, the Bernie movement. And the thing that always chopped my ass was the amount of money that they took. I mean, I have made GoFundMe some goddamn money over the years, let me tell you. They take 3% off of every dime that you guys give to us. And then I think they take administrative fees on top of that. And then they lord over you, and anything that you say. I won my last GoFundMe appeal because I was smart and I sidestepped all the Assange stuff and left my my story very, very vague. And you'll see that if you check onto my new fundraising site. So, I mean, I've known to be done with GoFundMe for a long time, but I didn't have any other means really. And now we have other means, right? We have Give, Send, Go. We have this new one. What is Spot Fund? And so I shut my GoFundMe down yesterday, and I have moved to Spot Fund. So tell GoFundMe to go fuck yourselves, defend the gray zone and independent journalists against state repression again. And that's where we're at. So here is my news site, Spot Fund. I want to thank Jax. Jax right out the gate got me yesterday and dropped it. I was just playing around, putting it out there, and you guys are so amazing to immediately grab it and get it out there for people to see. So Spot Fund, of course, I haven't updated the links in the description box. I have updated the link tree. So if you go to the link tree, it's in there, or you can just go directly. But look at this cool thing, how you can support the show. There you are. You just hit that QR code and it will take you to the link tree, which will take you to the Spot Fund. Or you can just go straight to the Spot Fund, which is right up there. Okay, now we're done with the financial bag, right? That's what we always do at this point in the show. And, I'm still trying to get to Argentina. We're getting closer. And the cookbook is coming along great. Recipes are shooting in from everywhere. Send us your recipe. You want your recipe? I love the idea of this book because it's going to be our community's cookbook, right? And I want to put some trailer park cookbooks, recipes in there, food bank recipes, because as we go into the winter, it's going to get so much tougher for people, and we're going to be living on less. If you haven't noticed, the supply chain's in serious having a serious breakdown right now. I was at the dollar store 2 days ago and was shocked at the least amount of stuff. I mean, you could go down an aisle and one whole side would be empty. Of course, they had quarter losses, the Dollar Tree did. And they're filling it. Everybody's filling it. If the Dollar Tree is losing money, our economy's in seriously bad trouble. So we will talk about the economy, but let's do this day in history. I overslept this morning. I admit it. It was Wednesday and I just didn't want to get up anyways. Oz stepped in and did this day in history for me. He saw I wasn't awake. So thank you so much, Oz, for cleaning up my mess for me. Let's see. 1980. Christopher Cross has his first of 2 #1 hits with Sailing. We just opened our show on Saturday with Sailing. Yeah. Love that song. Of course, Oz loves that song too. 2003, American actor Charles Bronson, who was best known for his portrayal of tough guys, notably the anti-turn villain. Oh, okay. In Death Wish, 1974, died in Los Angeles at the age of 81. I don't remember that, but I do remember Death Wish. I did a book report on it in like the 3rd grade. And if you ever read Death Wish, any of them, the first one was about this female serial killer that went around killing men because she had very heavy period flows and she just hated men for it. So I remember telling the teacher, like, how do I describe this to people? So I told the class that she had a bleeding disorder and that's why she was angry and killing people. Oh my gosh, Death Wish. Yeah, my dad always dragged those books home. That's why I always read them. 1918, Soviet leader Vladimir Lenin was shot twice in an unsuccessful assassination attempt. Damn, that's tough. Shot twice. Let's see. 2021, following a chaotic withdrawal, the last U.S. troops left Afghanistan some 7 years after the war in the country had officially ended. Yes, what a debacle. Such a great job Biden did on that, didn't he? Here, let's leave all of our equipment to the Taliban. Oh, wait, we created the Taliban, so it doesn't matter. Let's see. 1983, Gutton S. Bloomford becomes the first African-American to travel to space. 1983. And let's see, 1905, American basketball player Ty Cobbs, who becomes one of the game's greatest offensive players and one of the fiercest competitors, made his major league debut with the Detroit Tigers. Are you into baseball, Oz? I didn't know that. Let's see. 1968, first record released on the Apple label in the UK is the Beatles' a single, Hey Jude. I remember seeing that logo as a kid, right? On the albums, always digging through albums as a kid. It was always fun. Okay, well, that was your This Day in History. Let's see if I can get back to the chat so I can talk. Hey, Kenneth Cohen, welcome, welcome. Did I get pieced up? Timu is taking over. Tell me about it. I am so sick and tired of getting emails from those guys like they're my friend. Like, I don't know, they're worded weird. I just saw one come in a little while ago and I was like, what? Like, I don't know. Timu. I've never actually bought anything from there, but I know Oz has. But this was a long time ago. Like, Oz was in Timu like 2 years ago. Everybody's just now hearing about it. Ah, there's the Rokfin coming up. Let's see. I need my other mouse. I have dueling mice and keyboard. Hey, Jim. Good morning, Jim. Good to see you. There's Fred Edwards. Fred Edwards, SFT. Welcome. Okay, let's get started with Hurricane Idalia. Idalia strengthens again, expected to make Florida landfall as a major hurricane. So here's the thing. They told everybody for like the last 3 days, oh, it's going to be a tropical storm. And then as it got a little closer, they were like, well, maybe it'll be a category 1 by the time it makes landfall. And what's fishy about this hurricane, now I'm not saying this is a man-created hurricane, or am I? If you know me, then you might know. This hurricane came out of like the south. Normally hurricanes build off the coast of Africa and then they come in at an angle. This one built off the coast of Belize down in the Gulf of Mexico. So it started and it came straight up into the Gulf of Mexico. Normally they start out in the Atlantic and then they come in. So this one's just weird. And then, there was so many factors that needed to be factored in with that, it might be a category 1. So it has made landfall this morning. There's conflicting reports that it was a category 3 or a category 4. I guess we'll know in a couple of days, but let's check out. I grabbed a couple of clips. That was just from last night overnight. And of course, the storm is just now literally coming in. And there's, like I said, there's conflicting reports. I saw 3, Ozzy. I saw 3 also, but then I also saw places saying 4. So why is this going to be? Sinead, love to you back. Good to see you. Love to all. Thanks for the super chat over on the YouTubes. I hope everybody's well and safe this morning. And if you're in a position to help people out, man. It's simple as, helping people board up or helping them get out. It's going to be major rescue efforts here in the next, 24 hours, right? So let's see. What is this?
3 reasons why I'm actually paying attention to Hurricane Idalia coming towards us. 1, the waxing of the moon. So we are already in king tides before the hurricane comes here. There's a lot of places that could go underwater if this hurricane hits above us. 2, the hurricane is set to hit above Tampa, which makes us all at risk of flooding. And 3, hurricanes usually come off the coast of Africa and swing up, but this one kind of brewed near Honduras and below the Gulf, and so we've never seen this before. 4 for a bonus one. The waters of the Gulf are on average 6 degrees warmer than they've ever been, and warm water is fuel for a hurricane.
Now, if us plebes out here in the real world can understand these things, right? This is just an average person. If you've lived on the coast, you understand how the moon really does affect the tides, right? And king tides are nothing to joke about. King tides come in, they are the highest that they can be, right? And then you throw all these other factors in there. The weather guys didn't factor in the fact that the Florida's the waters off the coast of Florida are 6 degrees warmer. What? Why were they telling people that this might be a tropical storm? It might be a hurricane. Why were they not in full on get prepared mode? Which a lot of people did, right? They ran to go fill their gas tanks so that way they'd have gas for their generators. The power's going to be out for, 2-3 weeks, whatever. And guess what? 85% of the gas in Florida has been contaminated by diesel. How did that happen? How did that happen? So yeah, people's cars are ruined. Their generators are ruined from putting this bad gas in there. People couldn't get gas to get out. You can't tell me that wasn't, it makes you wonder. It's a coincidence, right? It's just a total crazy coincidence. So, okay, so here's some of that flooding she was talking about. This is Horseshoe Beach, Florida. And yeah, if you're below Tampa, you're probably going to be underwater. So check this out. Look at the before and after on that. I'm going to play it again because it goes fast. So you can see the island right there, right? Look at how fast that island's gone. Whew. That is so scary, man. Mother Nature, water ain't something to fuck around with, right? And I mean, neither is fire, but, and of course, with these, I used to live in Baton Rouge. So I've went through some hurricanes, none of the big category 4s, but I've been through my share of crazy ass tropical storms and cat 1s and cat 2s. My kids lived through Katrina. Oh my God. They were supposed to fly home because my ex lived in Baton Rouge. And so the kids, they were like 10 and 8. They would fly down for the summer and then they would fly home. Well, that hurricane hit right at the end of, August. So the kids were supposed to be at the airport getting on a plane. Well, they couldn't get to the airport. The roads were impassable, so they had to ride the storm out. I'll never forget how scared I was. All day, I was glued to the weather bug, on the computer, checking the wind speeds right there where my kids were, constantly checking the Doppler to see what was over them. And they survived. Their roof blew off. They were with their grandparents. So I knew they were safe. But to this day, they didn't understand the severity of it, being inside a house with the wind hitting them, or the amount of people who passed during Katrina, right? Which we still don't have the right numbers for Katrina. They've always lied to us about those numbers. Okay, so let's check out this tornado. This was this morning. Damn, that is scary. I'd say that was probably what, F2, 1, because hurricanes and tornadoes are charted differently. Yeah, they are. Oh, so FEMA is out of money. Did you guys see yesterday the head of FEMA, like, we only have so many billion left and it ain't shit, right? Well, isn't FEMA giving a lot of money to Ukraine just like everybody else? I'm just saying. So FEMA, if you're trapped in your home due to hashtag Hurricane Idalia, get to the highest floor immediately. Avoid closed attics. If absolutely necessary, get to the roof and call 911. If you don't have access to a phone or have cell service, try asking your neighbors for help or signaling your location. Remember, if you are in immediate danger, call 911, ask your neighbors for help, and signal your location for help. That's the biggest thing that we saw during Hurricane Katrina was people on their roofs spelling out help, right? So let's check this out. So just know, as we speak this morning, there is people literally fighting for their lives in Florida. There is. I mean, we just see disaster after disaster after disaster. They can call it global warming, climate change, whatever they want. At the end of the day, don't call fucking FEMA to help you. Don't call 911 because they're not going to answer. We know that, right? That's the first thing that goes down is 911. And if it is up, well, sorry, we don't have anybody who can get to you. You know, you got to be smart if you want to survive in this world that we currently find ourselves in. You got to be smart. You have to plan ahead, and you got to think outside the box. You know, if you do get trapped, how do I get out of here? How do I alert people I'm here? Because you're not going to have a cell phone, most likely. That's the first thing that ever goes down in any kind of emergency, right? It's always 911. And even if they could, they they can't get out there half the time. So, but a lot of people are saying that this is another man-made crisis, whether it be because of climate change and global warming, human created, or if it be some kind of weather modification, human made, right? So let's kind of put the dots together at what's going on. I like what this guy had to say.
Y'all, at this point, it's laughable. It's almost laughable that you guys just don't fucking see it. It just doesn't compute. Like, the shit in Maui, no water, no power, no sirens. Shit's just weird. It doesn't make sense. Then now, British Columbia, same thing. Not letting him go in, not letting him go out, not letting people volunteer to help. They also don't have water. Shit's a mess. And now we have Florida. And I mean, this shit you can't make up. Like, an accident, they tell these people to prepare for this hurricane, right? So they tell them to go get gas to prepare for this hurricane so they can get out of there. They go get this gas and it's all fucking diesel. And everybody wants to pretend like it's a goddamn coincidence. It's fucking not. It's not. And it's not a goddamn accident. Oh, okay. Only Florida, the areas where they need to be evacuated. Now there's people broken down on the highways, children in their fucking cars. But it's just a coincidence, right? Just a coincidence. Come on. Please, seriously, just look at it yourself. Think for your fucking selves. Damn it.
Did he have some shit on his nose, Salty? I didn't see it. But exactly, what are the odds that 85% of the gasoline that was delivered into Florida, when they know they have a major population evacuation coming, and I have been in these evacuations, and they are insane, let me tell you. They go for hundreds of miles. You're tons of cars lined up, bumper to bumper. Everybody's doing 10 miles an hour. That's what it's like to escape Florida during a hurricane, or Louisiana during a hurricane, right? And normally you only have a few interstates. Those are the only ways you're going to get out. So you have no choice but to get in the flow and just go slow and try to escape, right? We saw that even with Hawaii. Everybody was being pushed onto the main roads and nobody was moving, right? And only those who defied the authorities, those who say they're in authority, are the ones that lived. So what are the odds that bad gas got sent to Florida at the same time that they need to be evacuating? And people make fun of Florida. We always joke about the people down in Florida, right? Well, we know that the global elites, they want that property. Why is it always the ocean front beautiful property that there always seems to be problems with, right? You don't see me on Rumble for today? Yeah, I'm on Rumble. I see Kate's over there. So yeah, I'm on Rumble. That Rumble, that's why I haven't pushed Rumble, because they don't put us into the algorithm and it almost seems like they bury us. So I'm sorry if you're not seeing us on Rumble. But I find this very suspicious, right? As we're still dealing with Maui and Lahaina. Somebody said something about, hey, Shanda, your covers, is that you in all the thumbnails? I swear it looks like you. Yes, that is me in all the thumbnails. We love Reface around here. We got a couple of different programs, digital programs that we mix with AI. So that is an AI generated picture. I literally told an AI to find me a lonely, what was that? What did I say? A lonely blonde woman in a dystopian post-apocalyptic trailer park, and that's what they come up with. And then we make sure that we add pictures of ourselves so that way it'll generate it. So yes, the pictures are always, you guys know, I don't do cover cards like with whatever I'm covering. I just do cover cards for the trailer park because for one, I don't want to be like everybody else. I'm not trying to be like everybody else. So thanks for noticing. Thanks for noticing the cards, Baby Yoda. Okay, did you guys see this shit? So in Maui, I feel like I skipped a slide, but I guess not. Refrigerator truck sites at the Maui forensic facility. Most one is island expected the death toll to continue to rise. Okay, I can't see it because they put white over white. When you guys are doing font, make sure you don't put the same color as the background. I do that all the time. Like, damn it, I can't read it. So yeah, these are refrigerator trucks outside of the forensics facility, and we're told they have an incinerator too, that they're incinerating these bodies that they're finding, but we're still not getting numbers. They haven't updated the numbers. They're still lying to us about the numbers. And of course, the coroner just happens to be the police chief, who happens to be the dude from the Vegas shootout, right? How convenient is that they have somebody in there who already understands how to control a national narrative because he's already been through it once. I don't know, just a quinky dink, right? There's so many quinky dinks. So this is a Maui forensics facility. Shipping containers show scale of Lahaina's heavy toll. We're not being told the actual death toll of Lahaina.
At the Maui Police Department's forensic facility in Wailuku, where morgue operations specialists are actually loading mats and containers of bodies right now.
So why is our police chief also our coroner? He admitted that on a press conference just the other day.
Legislation was passed that allowed the sheriff, aka the coroner, to cremate bodies in a new way. I'll go ahead and include the link so you can go ahead and look at those legislation bills. But in doing so, not only are there no descendants there to look for lost loved ones, such as where are the parents to the missing children? They're not there. Not only has this whole operation completely just annihilated the indigenous people of Lahaina, but in doing what they've done, they've also completely disintegrated all traces of DNA. So yeah, if the math ain't mathing, let me help you out here. Not only is the coroner's office, aka the sheriff, making $800 for each and every person he stuffs in one of those containers that very well is one of these alkaline hydrolysis decomposing chambers, he's not only making $800 per person, but by eliminating all DNA, any surviving ancestors to those that perished in this fire, any surviving ancestors that live abroad, say in the mainland, they can never return home and stake claim to their land because it's surrendered over to the coroner's office. It's given back to the state. So, because there's no trace of evidence of the DNA. This is disgusting, you guys. This is disgusting, and I hope this helps somebody. We're at the end, and if you don't know Christ Jesus, now is the time to turn and repent to him. And I'm talking to you elites more than anything. You might want to stop what you're doing because Christ Jesus is coming back, and it ain't gonna end well for you. If you think that you
wow. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get the Rokfin and everything to go. I don't know why they didn't launch this morning. I think I might have just got the Rumble going. Let me know if the Rumble starts. I mean, the Rokfin starts. There's no way I'm going to get the Rumble up and running because I got to go get the keys to it. But I'm hoping I figured out Rokfin. What is going on here this morning? Well, if I didn't have tech problems, I wouldn't have anything. It says starting soon, but I'm live. I hit live on it. So, okay, Rokfin, I think, is up. I see myself on Rokfin. So I don't know. I'm gonna put the link out on Twitter. You guys go hit the link on Twitter and let me know if that link is actually live. I gotta have some problems, right? Normally it's smooth sailing for me, but today, sorry. I don't know what happened. I could go without all the churchy stuff, but what she was saying about the legislation that has passed. You remember that crazy ass story we heard last week about how FEMA and the Marines got in a big shootout because FEMA was incinerating bodies and burying them? I keep hearing rumbles and different versions of that story popping up. It makes me wonder if there's some little bit of truth to that story, right? A lot of conspiracies are just rooted in a little bit of truth. Maybe there was some kind of showdown between FEMA and the Marines, the National Guard that was there. I don't know, because we keep hearing that the Marines were like, what the hell are you guys doing with these incinerators? So this is from the Hawaii State Department of Education, and they are saying that over 2,000 children are missing from Lahaina public schools 2 weeks after the Maui fire reports. Now, the state stated that 2,025 students are not accounted for, not meaning they didn't show up, because I highly doubt there's a lot of schooling going on, everything burned to the ground, but have not been accounted for, meaning nobody has talked to their families. Nobody has reached out to anybody with association with that kid. Why would they lie about that? Why would the school district lie about how many children are missing right now? Because we've known from day one that this disaster affected the children the most of that area. Why? Because they sent them home from school. A lot of parents had to go to work, so they left their kids at home like latchkey parents do. I, grew up alone. A lot of us did. You go home from school, you do your homework, you have a snack, and you watch some cartoons or something. That's what a lot of parents have their kids do when they get out of school. So these kids came home early. They didn't have babysitters. A lot of them didn't have communications with their parents, and then this fire hit. The stories, I haven't even brought you guys the stories that I'm coming across because they're so heart-wrenching. Whole families incinerated in cars. I mean, this one lady, oh my God, I just watched her bawl until islanders that live there, that have been there, are like, we're finding families full in their car. We're finding them in their houses, all in one room, where it's insane that our media is doing this. And not to mention, they're not letting any media in there. Now, I reported on Monday that they're putting up these 9-foot black fences around Lahaina. And they're only letting state-sponsored media in. So they're not even letting local media like the Maui Times or any of the Hawaiian papers in there to report. It's just like ABC and NBC, narratives that they can control, right? That's what it always is, narratives they can control. So will we ever get an accurate number of what happened in Maui? No, just like we never got an accurate number of what happened during Katrina. These disasters and they don't want to tell us. So the thing, I told you guys when this very first happened, the very first day when news was breaking on this, that I was told there was no power. There was no power. The power had been shut off. But that was conflicting with mainstream media's reports that this was started by down power lines during a high winds. So there was already lawsuits that were filed 2 days after this fire was over. They were already trying to sue the power company, Hawaii Electric, to say, you guys started this fire. Why didn't you shut your lines off? Well, they're saying our lines were off. So what started the fire? Just saying.
August 28th, today, the Hawaiian Electric says power lines were shut off hours before the wildfire. 6 hours before the fire broke out. And the government's trying to say that it was from high winds and down power lines that caused the fire, which we all had suspicions that that's not what it was. Now we know the records indicate that the power was shut off. So there ain't no way that no down power lines caused a fire if they didn't have any electricity running through them. We have a rogue-ass government that is willing to kill citizens at whatever cost to get what they want. And I don't see how anybody can be okay with this. They shut off the water. They blockaded the roads. And they allowed people to burn alive. For what? A 15-minute...
So there you go. They're saying the power was off. So if the power was off, you remember the video we saw of where it supposedly started? It was somebody's like ring cam, and you saw a big flash of light, and then boom, there was the first fire. Because they're telling us that was a power line, even though there's a lot of evidence that that was some kind of strike that came from up above. Just saying. And it wasn't lightning because there was no clouds, no clouds like that over the island at that time, even though they had been chemtrailing them. Okay, I think I got Rokfin working. Hello, Rokfin. Good morning, Rokfin. I wondered why nobody was on the Rokfin. And Rumble's just down. I don't think there's anything I can do to fix the Rumble right now. Let me see. Can I get into... No. My content. I'm trying to get in and get the keys to the Rumble. Oz, if you're out there, will you go update my Rumble key for me? Because I can't get to it. Thank you so much. I guess when I'm in studio, I can't flip through the channels is the thing. I don't know. Without screwing the stream up. My bad. I screwed up this morning, but hey, I don't do it too often, so I'll own it. You know what that was? That was me being super stoned last night and forgetting to move the keys, because every time I set up a stream, I got to go get the RTMP codes, and then I got to get the password and put them into my studio, and my bad. I forgot last night. I don't ever do that. That's so crazy. So let's see. What is this one? I don't know if this guy's got anything pertinent to say or not, but let's check it out.
Weeks prior to the fire, Green had an emergency proclamation. Why would it be emergency if there wasn't a catastrophe? But he did.
Good question.
He gets rid of the Land Use Commission red tape.
Imagine that.
Just obliterates it, setting the stage for the seizure of this land. Okay, stay with me. There's a lot more. The governor can now, because of this, build any way he wanted. But he had another obstacle, and that was the fact that Lahaina was declared to be an historical site.
Yep.
But the historical site no longer exists. And the language said that the locals could keep out the businesses and the developers they didn't want, so long as there wasn't a natural disaster. And then the state has the right to rezone the land and listen, all right, wait for it, and seize it. So some of you have been asking me, Dave, how can they evict and take people's land? Well, I did some research on eminent domain and evictions in Hawaii state law. If you piece together, if you piece together the different provisions of the law that have to be stacked to remove someone, the quickest you could do it is 15 days. This was done on the 7th day.
Yeah.
And there's no way it could be done in 15 days. But I'm saying, when you stack the minimum numbers for the procedures, there's a 1 5-day and a 1 10-day. And if you stack those back to back, and there's no way to do that. I mean, you're probably looking at a month minimum. This was enacted 1 week into the crisis. Illegal. This is an illegal set of evictions and seizures of property, but it was set up by...
So that guy did a whole series. I found it very interesting. He did do his due diligence. He has done the research. So I tend to believe what he's saying here. And that is, they had the mechanisms and they rewrote the bylaws a week before the disaster that got rid of a whole entire commission that would have protected these lands. Nope, got to get rid of them. And when it came to the eviction of the people that didn't get burned out, remember there was some people who didn't get burned out, but they were immediately evicted like a few days after the fire. He's saying it's not even legally possible to kick somebody out in 7 days, but they managed to do it. And as a poor person, yes, I've been through a few evictions in my life. No, God, they were terrible. But yes, it takes a lot of time normally between going to court and having a cop come to your door and say, you're out of here. There's a lot of due process in there. And apparently they cut all the red tape and there was no due process at all, which makes it sound like even more of the land grab that it was. 100% land grab. Will we see the same thing in Florida? There's going to be a lot of flooded properties, a lot of damaged properties. And, there's only so much prime, pristine real estate on the planet, right? And the global elite, they want it and they're going to take it one way or another. And they are taking it. This is some independent media that couldn't get in, but was on the outskirts of Lahaina, and they got some good points about how hot this fire was. Now, remember, I showed you the video on Monday from the satellite where you literally could see the black scorch marks, which look like, if you took a hot laser and pointed at something, it would burn a scorch mark. Say if you took a magnifying glass and you hit it with the sun, it's going to leave a black scorch mark, right? There was these black pinpoint scorch marks all over Maui. But let's check it out.
That's like when you see this, you're just going to be like it's going to break science. If you're a scientist and you understand anything about temperatures and melting points, what we're about to show you is going to change, in my opinion, the whole direction of this entire investigation from what I'm being led to believe, and it just makes logical sense, right?
Yeah, it's almost like there's an incinerator nearby and they just dropped the car off.
Right, so I'm going to turn the camera on what we're walking up on right now. I want you to notice there's a vehicle that's been here since the beginning. It wasn't dropped off here, obviously.
Look at the chair's not melted.
You can see here
it's sitting in the middle.
This is the highest the burn got. Right here. It did not cross the highway. If you look over here, this is the bypass. You can see none of that grass is burned over there. So start to draw some logical conclusions.
Oh, look at it.
We're going to show you some more things as we're walking along here.
How did that not disappear? If
this melted, how did that cone not completely disappear? Because if you look at this vehicle, and I want you to notice the burn, the amount of grass, as you can see, that burned in the char marks. This car is basically completely surrounded by gravel, and you can see small little flames right here when this grass burned. Yet when you turn and look right in this direction, besides seeing Dylan, my technical cameraman, you can see this car. And for all you scientists out there that have been sending me images and you're asking me if they're real, I'm here to tell you, in Jesus' name, what we're showing you is real, live on YouTube. So if you enjoy content like this, we ask you to please immediately like this, share this, and subscribe to the channel. Why? Because you are our only hope of getting this out to the world through the YouTube algorithm. This is a tire that is gone. These are the braids of steel inside the tire. Look at this particular rim. Is it safe to say these are aluminum?
Look at the windshield. What's that?
Are these aluminum?
Yeah, that's cast aluminum wheels.
Cast aluminum wheel, you can see it melted.
And the windshield on the inside?
Look at the windshield. That is a windshield right there that is completely melted. We have some jumper cables in the back of the vehicle. Or we have some cast aluminum here that's pulverized.
Just dust.
How is that possible for a grass fire that did not come from this direction? Because you can see there's nothing that's been burned over here.
Where's the fuel?
What could cause that type of destruction when you have a grass fire on this side that obviously didn't connect? But even if it was a grass fire,
and it's still only half burned. I mean,
yeah, you can see there's even some grass over here that's still standing. It's not even been burned. So even down below, directly below this, you can see some wood fence posts that were burned, but you can see all that grass is still good. So how do you get this car this hot? In the comments section, I need to hear from you guys. Honestly, I need you here in the comments section. There's some smart people, and I'm not talking about, I'm talking about some intelligent people out there that understand physics, science, melting points, not the nonsense people. We need to just silence the nonsense for a moment. We need some real scientists, some real professors around the world to check in right now and help us understand what phenomenon, right?
Yeah, it's an anomaly or whatever you want to call that word.
Right, but this is just one vehicle. This is what we're seeing in all.
Oh, there's the window down there in the middle.
Where's the window?
Down in the crack.
Oh, you can see the melted window down in the crack.
It just dripped down in there.
It's just dripped into the, you can see.
Okay. Oh, no. I don't know why I jumped to the next one. So, we've got questions. I mean, we all are of sound mind, right? We live in this reality where we have finite laws of physics, and these seem to be defying the laws of physics. I mean, I'm not saying I'm an expert on melting points, but I've burned a lot of shit in my life, and you got to have a few things, right? You got to have wind, which, okay, some say there was no wind. Some say the wind was being caused by the fire. But where's the fuel source at? People are like, okay, was it the gas tanks and all the cars? Okay, but what grabbed on first on the outside of that car to catch fire? I mean, it has to burn down to the gas tank. It's not like that amber went into the gas tank and blew the car up. The car burned from the outside first, and then of course it hits the gas tank. Okay, there's your fuel, boom. But what caused it to burn hot enough to get into that gas tank? That's what I'm asking. We asked the same questions about Paradise. We've asked the same questions about the fires that we've seen in the past, where they just burn this hot, and they literally leave a house as ashes in its own footprint. I don't understand that. With all the trees around it, fine. With the your outside umbrella, your picnic table umbrella is just fine. The cat carrier sitting on the back porch is just fine, but the house is like a memory. I burned all the way down past the foundation. Any steel, anything in the house is gone, right? I mean, you might have a remnant of a fridge or a stove, but they're mostly just ash. So it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to you. You tell me. So this was the Maui City Council, and I know these are hard to hear. I'll try to crank it up. So at the most recent Maui City Council meeting, a Lahaina elementary school teacher and community organizer questions why 3 weeks prior to the disaster fire, the council failed to oppose the mayor's passing of an emergency proclamation law that would streamline development and suspend we just heard suspend the eminent domain council. That's what it was, the eminent domain council. So let's hear from this school teacher.
I am testifying on my concerns of the governor's
I got it cranked as loud as it'll go, guys.
Emergency proclamation that happened 3 weeks prior to the fire, and how it suspended 7 state statutes, of which exonerated everything that you guys are in charge of. Covers county organization administration. Chapter 46, collective bargaining was rescinded. School impact fees, collective bargaining was rescinded. And to my knowledge, this was the first emergency proclamation in the country that didn't have a preceding incident. Normally it's like a hurricane, boom, we got an emergency proclamation. But this was just, from my knowledge, was just to streamline development on Maui, and it is allocated all decision-making power to one person, the housing officer of the governor, Nani Medeiros, who's unelected, who can trump every single thing that you do and everything that you say and every item that we cover, without any input from the community, without any public discourse, without sunshine law. I love what you said, Lahaina's not for sale. Please include us. But I don't see that happening. They're moving forward with they're meeting with developers, private landowners, and not a lot of community unless you know how to maneuver correctly. So before I go to my next item, I would just like to ask each council member to let me know, are you in favor of this emergency proclamation that takes away sunshine law, collective bargaining, all your power in decision making? I would like it if you did me a kindness, and before I go on to the next item that I want to testify on, who's in favor of that? Because I have serious concerns.
Mr. Huey, we don't have discussions at this point.
Yeah, that's always the city council's response, right? We'll hear from you, but we're never going to answer you. So, yeah, it's just a conspiracy theory that they pretty much used a disaster, pre-disaster, to take back the power of the people for collective bargaining, to have any say over what was going to happen in their area for rebuilding and for development. Now, we've talked extensively about how Lahaina was the actual Hawaiian capital for the Native Hawaiians, and how it was protected. It was landmarked, right? We don't tear up landmarks. Once they're landmarked, we don't tear them up. Well, no, they saw that coming and they wanted to get the laws changed. I find this very suspicious, but honestly, I find this most disturbing because the bottom line is your government will kill your fucking kids to take your land. And that's what I take away from this story. And most of America won't even believe it, right? But, we got the shit libs who think Joe's done a wonderful job. He went down there. He gave them $700. He's helped them out. Here we are. This, I love this from Jesse Jett. Why does Jill Biden always have the most bizarre outfits? And Jesse says, this specific dress pattern can't be targeted by Dew. Oh, yeah, she's pixelated, right? The response from Biden has been dismal, disgusting, embarrassing, insulting. And now I see these posts going up from the shit libs about he's already ahead of the hurricane. He's already allocating funds and declaring a disaster before it ever hit. You never saw that from Trump. Where was Trump? Give me a freaking break. Give me a break. Where was he during this disaster? Where it took him 13, 14 days to get there. And when he did get there, he was completely an asshole to the people of Hawaii. Yeah, that's a Biden administration. But, no money for America. Biden administration sends another $250 million for military aid for Ukraine as the counteroffensive grinds on. So let's see. This is the USA Today. The Biden administration on Tuesday announced a $250 million military aid package to Ukraine that included equipment to clear Russian minefields that have stalled Ukrainians' counteroffensive. Oh, it's all those pesky little mines. Doesn't have anything to do with the fact that the Ukrainian soldiers are losing numbers. The shipment also includes additional ammunitions for air defense to counter Russian drones and missiles. The Pentagon will also send artillery shells and 3 million rounds of small arms ammunition. The IRS is going to be sad you're taking their ammunition. Since Russia's invasion of the Ukraine in February of 2022, the Biden administration has provided more than $43 billion in military aid to Ukrainian troops. Using Western armed vehicles, trucks, and artillery have made legit gains in taking back Ukrainian territory from Russia. Yeah, right. That's what the USA Today wants you to believe. They even highlighted it in blue. May have limited gains in taking back Ukrainian territory from Russia. So your reaction, President, at Joe Biden. This was some Secretary Blinken yesterday. So Secretary Blinken said yesterday, today we are announcing a specific new assistance package for Ukraine. Guided rockets, anti-armor, and other munitions will help Ukraine military forces to defend their country's sovereignty, territory, and people. So there you are. Now, they're trying hard to shut the truth up when it comes to this. So you saw people like Garland Nixon get kicked off of Twitter this week and not be allowed to post anything because, he's telling the truth about the Ukraine counteroffensive that we've been told for the last 8 months, right? Remember last winter when they were getting their asses kicked so bad and they were like, oh, just wait till spring. That's when the counteroffensive will be good. And we got to get stuff to them for the counteroffensive. And it's just continued to be a meat grinder for the Ukrainian soldiers. And we know it. We know that we've lost this counter offensive and, just keep throwing money at it, right? We've seen a couple of drones make it into Moscow for attacks the last few days. I've seen. But how do you guys feel about giving Ukraine even more money? Every day, it seems like I wake up to find out that we're giving Ukraine more money. The aid package that they sent to Maui, they attached a aid package to Ukraine on the Maui aid package. Maui aid package, I don't remember the exact number. I'll have to go look those numbers up. I had them last week. But at the end of the day, Ukraine got double the amount of money in that aid package than Maui got. So I don't know. When do we stop? When we hit $1 trillion? We're getting close. We're getting super close to hitting $1 trillion. Remember when we were kids and we thought $1 trillion was a made up number? I do. So Simon Atabita says, breaking. National Archives just admitted that it is in possession of at least 5,400 emails and documents suggesting President Joe Biden used pseudonyms during his VP tender. Acknowledgement came after a FICA request by Southeast Legal Foundation. Records involve pseudonyms Robin Ware, Robin L. Peter. That's terrible. And J.R.B. Ware. Legal action has now been initiated for potential insight into government communications involving Hunter Biden and more. Hi, I'm Joe Biden. Hi, I'm Robert L. Peters. And Screwed Guy says Peters is short for pedo. Yeah, we know that. Are you guys shocked that Biden was using pseudonyms to do what he was doing? That's why he kept saying, oh, I never. Yeah, because he sees himself as an alter ego, right? When he's doing this. Shanda helped me get off of Tom Hartman and hooked on LaCroix waters. Kate, I'm so glad I could help you out. I used to have a Tom Hartman addiction back in 2016. I got over it real fast when he got TDS so bad that that's the only thing he can cover anymore. And as far as the LaCroix go, I'm told they got Roundup in them. I don't know. I just don't think there's anything on this planet that's not poison any longer, right? But they are so good. I love the LaCroix. They're kind of a caring drink from what I'm told, but Dark Brandon, aka Robert L. Peters, because everyone has a burner phone, offshore accounts, 22 shell companies, and 170 SARS reports. Yeah. Oh, you guys with the memes are so great. Making the memes. I saw this meme as soon as that story dropped yesterday. I was like, God, love the meme masters, man. They are on top of it. Good morning, Indie Left Media. I hope you're doing well. And we hope all of our brothers and sisters in the Southeast are battening down the hatches and being safe. I do know a couple of people have evacuated that we know within our little circles. So I hope everybody is safe. I know RBN has got a couple down there too. Isn't a Rome down there? I think Rome's in Florida. Meteor 2024. That's who I'm back in this year. You guys know it. So I had to bring you guys this gross ass shit. I had to. So let's hear from Rachel Maddow. She's got a mad cow today over what the Trump arrests and indictments could mean if he wins or if he loses. She's got some predictions, so let's hear it.
The election means one of two things, if this is the way he's going to approach it. Either he loses the election and he goes to prison, or he wins the election, he doesn't go to prison, and is that for life that he gets to be president? Will we keep having more elections?
What the fuck are you talking about?
If every election is a new opportunity for him to go to prison, do you think he allows us to have new elections?
Oh, my God.
I mean, if those are the stakes, if winning the election is his plan to stay out of prison, what happens in that election if and when he does not win it? Does that kind of an election end with a graceful concession to a fair and square re-elected President Biden? I mean, if Trump and his supporters see the stakes as losing and going to prison or winning and being president and probably president for life, how should we expect that he and the Republican
What the hell
Party
is
and
she
Republican
talking
officials
about?
in swing states are going to handle the conduct of that election that Trump may very well lose? And because we are prone to forget, we have to say out loud, I mean, that we would be remiss, we would be willfully naive to ask that question as if our politics exists in a vacuum, somewhere outside the rest of our news. As if the politics pages are totally different than the crime pages, right? As if we are not in a moment where far-right politics
God, I
is
wish you'd shut up.
coincident with far-right violence, with regular shows of force from paramilitary extreme right groups, and with acts of violence by people who are explicitly and admittedly motivated by far-right eliminationist political ideas.
What about the far left political ideologists? Come on.
We are prone to forget, but we do not have to.
Oh my God, that was just revolting and disgusting the whole way around. So what is she trying to imply? That if Trump wins, he'll be president for life? Does anybody think that Trump would do that? She is stoking fucking fear. This is fear mongering to the TDSers, the COVIDians. Oh my God, be scared, because everything that we've tried to put Trump down has backfired on us and has made him stronger. And if you let him win, he'll be president for life. We'll just be a dictatorship. We already are a banana republic, and we know it. And that is the most disgusting, vile. She is such a vile woman. She's what does Trump call her? A nasty woman. Let me see. Rome is in Detroit. JB is in Orlando. Okay, thanks, Fred. I knew some of RBN was in Florida. And what about Reef? Reef got out, right? Reef's okay. I think I saw he was evacuating. So hopefully all the people in indie media are being safe today. And yeah, don't stick around to see how bad it's going to be or do reporting. Get out. So, when your mugshot pays for its legal fees, this is the reality Trump's living in. Every time they swipe at him, he gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And I got to tell you, he's starting to resonate with people who didn't even fucking support him over the last two elections. I didn't support Trump in 2016. I sure the hell didn't support him in 2020. But I can tell you now, every time I see them come at him, I just tell myself in the back of my head, well, if it comes down to Biden and Trump, if it comes down to Hillary and Trump, if it comes down to Pete Buttigieg and Trump, I'm voting Trump. I didn't vote for him the last 8 years, but I will this time, because the Dems have weaponized. They have turned us into a fascist nation who, prosecutes their political opponents. And I think a lot of Americans are thinking the same way I am. Just saying, we fight the system. We get suppressed by the system. We understand that the system crushes everyday people. And when we see Trump being crushed by a crooked system, we resonate with him. That's the reality of it for everyday Americans. We know there's a two-tiered justice system, and they want to put Trump in our side of the system. So you know what? When it comes down to it, we'll just see. Now, I'm making no predictions for 2024. You guys know it. But when it comes down to who's on that final ballot, I'm not voting for a D. I will not. I'm not saying I won't vote for an R. I've never said that, but I definitely will tell you, I will never vote for a Democrat ever again in my life. I don't care if Bernie Sanders decide to step up and call out the whole fucking election. Oh, they ripped me off 2 years or 2 elections in a row. They did this. They're crooked from the inside. I still wouldn't vote for him, because the Democratic Party is the most slimiest, corrupt. We used to say, Republicans stab you in the front. You can see them coming. You know what they stand for. They don't want big social programs. They don't want overreach of government. Democrats, they pat you on the head and stab you in the back and say, we're here to fight for you. And they're not fighting for you. I actually see Republicans fighting harder for the working class than I see the Democrats, even though the Democrats love to say they're fighting for us. And let's start with this asshole right here. Roe the Ho con man out there, saying that, his misleading claims. Yeah, these are misleading claims. So he's saying that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden did nothing wrong. The
American people know the facts. Joe Biden, there's not a single shred of evidence that a single payment went to President Biden. And Donald Trump's post reveals everything. It's total politics. It's because he was impeached twice, and he's running in 2024. They want to try to bloody up the president for 2024. This is all politics and has nothing to do either with the law or helping the American public.
We want to bloody up the president. No, all it takes is the president falling on his own goddamn face to bloody him up. And Roe the Ho con man needs to shut the fuck up. And he gets off on going on MSNBC. And, it's funny, when Roe started out, he used to do the independent media, right? We saw him on Zabby and Jimmy, till Jimmy burned him to the ground. That was a beautiful show. But, now he doesn't do that. He doesn't go on independent media. He goes over and he just spews complete fucking lies. Do you know how much evidence there is that Biden was being paid for play? There's so much. And they've had it since 2020, right? But no, Roe's got to go out there and toe the party line. And just a reminder from Shama Swan, if you're a progressive, the road for your movement inside the Democratic Party led to a graveyard. I'm not even going to say it leads anymore. It led to a graveyard. I know. I went in there. I was an elected Democratic PCO for 8 years. And let me tell you, there's nothing goddamn progressive about the Democratic Party at all. Quite the opposite. But Kyle disagrees with me. Did you guys see this crap? Oh my God. This is an ad for Biden via Kyle, because he's the arbiter of understanding the struggle of the working class. He knows because Mama Crystal pays all his bills.
Biden does not have a high approval rating. Biden has not been doing based shit much recently. There was a time where I think he went on a good streak and got some good legislation passed, but recently it's been a lot more lazy. You no longer have Ron Klain, who was certainly a more progressive chief of staff. Now you got this corporate lobbyist goon who's running the show. And it's clear, it shows in the action. So Biden's not doing a bang-up job here. But at the same time, the bar has now been lowered so much that he looks like an absolute hero compared to what's going on in the Republican Party. They're sort of leaning into a lot of these crazy ideas politically, these far-right ideas when it comes to abortion. And this, they left the lane wide open for Biden to just dribble on in and make the world's easiest layup. So Biden and his team, they cut this ad, watch. Look, it's a good ad. The normies are going to drool over themselves over that ad. There's no doubt about it. Now, under Obama, they had a supermajority, and they could have and should have codified Roe versus Wade back then, but they didn't.
And they're never going to.
Now here we are.
They're never going to codify Roe v. Wade. They're going to roll it out every election year like they have for the last 50 fucking years and tell you they're going to do it. There's been plenty of times in the last 40 years where they had it. They could have done it. Obama could have. Obama definitely fucking could have. Biden could have. But they don't. They don't. Why? Because this is a huge money maker for them. I used to be one of these women who was triggered by the pro-life, pro-choice. Oh my gosh, we got to protect women's rights to their body, my choice type of thing. But boy, they sure did a 180 on that when it came to COVID, right? It's not your body. It's not your choice. You have to listen to what the state says. And I don't buy into this whole fucking argument anymore. And I have daughters and granddaughters. And I don't think that they're taking away their right, because I know ultimately this is going to be travelism procedures is what they want. They want the blue states only to be able to perform these procedures or to be able to pass out the Plan B pill, right? And so they are now funding, blue cities are now funding trips for women from other states to come in and take care of what they've got to take care of. And how are they doing that? By setting aside and earmarking thousands of dollars for these agencies that find these women and say, we'll help you. And so what they're doing is they're making money off of this. It's always about making money. It's about privatizing it. Planned Parenthood's been funded by the government for so long, right? Well, okay, we're going to keep funding Planned Parenthood, but we're going to pull the Planned Parenthood out of all of the red areas and put them in the blue areas. And then if you need our services, hey, we'll just fly you in, put you up in a hotel for 2 days and then fly you back out. That's the Democrats' plan, whether they tell you it or not. And Kyle, you're just a big boob. That guy. Oh my God. I remember watching Kyle in 2016. I picked him up. Jimmy Dore, probably, TYT was on TYT a lot. He was on Jimmy Dore a lot back in those days. He seemed to have his shit together. And then he's met Crystal and lost his damn mind. I don't know what that was about. I don't know. Let's see. And Kyle, I get it. I would be petitioning for that guy to change his name too. Let's come up with a new name for Kyle so our Kyle can keep his name. CIA accused of covering up S abuse as trainees officer convicted of sexually assaulting a female colleague. And yeah, I'm on YouTube, so I know I'm skipping those words, but let me see. This is Alex Jones. We love us some InfoWars occasionally, but let's bring the article in because this is disgusting. This literally happened at Langley. Which one is it? Massive airdrop to rabies. No, cattle farmer. Here we go. I got some crazy stories coming up for you guys. Okay, here it is. So it says a CIA trained officer was convicted of essaying his female colleague in a stairwell, prompting more women to come forward, alleging a culture of abuse and cover-ups at the agency. No way. The CIA abusing people, then covered it up. That could never be. So I'm not even going to pretend to say his name. It's Askin Bayatpour. Was convicted Monday of attacking her at an agency's headquarters in Langley. This literally happened at CIA headquarters in 2022. In 2022, I can see if this was something that somebody didn't talk about for 10 years or 15 years. You know, we got a serious problem if the CIA in 2022 can think that it can essay women in the stairwell and get away with it. Oh, because they can. He was ordered to surrender his firearm and stay away from the victim. So 39-year-old former Navy intelligence officer was found guilty of a state misdemeanor charge of assault and battery for sneaking up behind a woman in a stairwell and wrapping a scarf around her neck and pulling her in for a kiss. There are many uses for this, he told her, and this is what I want to do to you. The victim reported the incident to the CIA leadership within 48 hours, but was told to stay silent and claimed she suffered from PTSD and unalive thoughts and lived in fear of bumping into him in the cafeteria as a result of this attack. Let's see. Damn commercials. So how long did he get? Did it say? The CIA tried to prevent her truthful cooperation with law enforcement, but she was too honest and tough. So they tried to cover it up and she kept fighting them. The agency needs to begin to help and not continue to hinder. And it's many SA victims who are now seeking justice through the legal system. So, this isn't the only one who had a nooner in the stairwell at the CIA. The guilty verdict came despite, not because of the CIA. Yeah, it is a gigantic problem that the agency has not yet begun to get its arms around in an environment where a lot of stuff is secret and those attract some bad actors. You know, the CIA literally pushes a fraternization policy. Like, they don't want you dating or marrying outside the CIA. It's better if you your partner is inside the CIA, because then you guys can talk about your work, and that is the CIA's stance on that. So let's see. CIA also needs to root out the violent predators from the agency. Yeah, I don't think so. That's ever going to happen. At least 24 women have came forward with complaints and unwanted touching. One of them was a senior manager and demanded, oh my God, listen to this. One claimed that a senior manager showed up to the subordinate's house and demanded sex while brandishing a gun. A gun. Your colleague shows up to your house with a gun and says, drop them. What? The women allegedly they are fighting against a campaign set up by the spy agency to silence them. Well, we know what the CIA does to silence people around the world, so I can't imagine what they're doing to their own people inside there. Another case, a female CIA employee said that one of her coworkers repeatedly discussed bondage, sent her nude photos of women, and threatened to get her security credentials revoked unless she had sex with him. Along the unwanted advances was an attempt at work by the coworker to airplane feed her pasta while he spilled on her and then offered to clean it up from the front of her shirt in an attempt to fill her breast. How immature. This is just so immature. Our officer deserves no less than our laser sharp focus of ensuring that their safety and security in the work environment. Everybody knows the CIA means what it says, wink, wink. So there you are. What a crazy ass story. But are we shocked? I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked one bit. It's the CIA. They are absolutely corrupt. And of course, they would be corrupt to their own people. So why are we shocked? I'm sad for the women that went into the CIA and have to, work with this shit. But you go to the CIA, that's what you get. This one's kind of funny. Exclusive, Eminem sends Vivek Ramaswamy a cease and desist letter demanding he stop rapping his music on the campaign trail. You guys know I brought this to you. So at the Iowa State Fair, 2 weeks ago, he got up there and started rapping Lose Yourself. Gotta lose yourself. And apparently Eminem doesn't like it. Now, Eminem is classically known for his deep rooted TDS. Eminem's got TDS really bad, like worse than Hartman, probably. I mean, he doesn't talk about it every day, but he raps about it every day. So I'm not shocked that he went after the Republicans for this. Not one bit. Are you? How's the chat saying? I don't know why my chats, some of them didn't launch today. I'm so sorry. Okay, let's see. Let's talk about Cornell. So, we've had the dueling Cornell West, Bernie Sanders going back and forth on mainstream TV. Well, it continues because yesterday Cornell was on Rising, or was this on Monday? One of the days, yesterday or the day before. I know Sabby was on there yesterday, but let's hear what Cornell has to say about what Bernie had to say about Cornell had to say.
Oh, no, I think that Brother Bernie's being consistent. He said that all along, and I can understand the argument. I think it's a plausible argument. I just don't think it's a persuasive one. I think that the argument he's making means that there's never any possibility for breaking from the corporate duopoly. There's never any possibility of trying to speak to the needs of poor and working people. I'm fresh from Mississippi, as you all probably know, there in Rankin County with Brother Jenkins and Brother Parker. I was there, the precious mother of Jenkins, Mary, and those lawyers down there, Brother Malik and Brother Trent. They're dealing with issues that the Democratic Party won't touch, which is issues of poverty and intense police brutality. And we haven't even got to the military adventurism abroad. So I think in many ways, Brother Bernie's making a plausible argument, but I think deep down in his heart, he knows that the Democratic Party has no fundamental intention of speaking to the needs of poor people and working people. They are dominated by their corporate wing. They're dominated by the militarists when it comes to foreign policy, and that he and AOC and the others are going to be, in a certain sense, window dressing at worst, and at best, people to appeal to every 4 years. But the Democratic Party is beyond redemption at this point when it comes to seriously speaking to the needs of poor and working people.
Well, he said it. They are window dressing. He should have just went the whole way and said, yeah, they're sheepdogs, because they are sheepdogs. And I'm glad to see Cornell calling it out like it is, like it absolutely is. And I'm sure Bernie will be on Face the Nation or some bullshit this week to say, we are not window dressing. We are here to save the American people. We all know it's bullshit at the end of the day. Let's see. What did Glenn Greenwald say? So Nathan J. Robinson says, if I were Biden, I would be inviting Cornell West to the White House and asking him to submit the list of policies he would take in exchange for dropping out. That's if we actually had a functioning political system. That's not how it works. Glenn Greenwald says, sorry, but at Cornell West is way too smart, sophisticated, and experienced to be bought off by some craven White House pageantry and empty gestures and promises made by the Dem Party that enslaved to its donor base and the neocon doctrine of endless war. And there you are, old enough to know better. Vote for West and feel superior in your privilege, while meanwhile us LGBTQ folks are fighting for our actual lives. So if you vote for for Cornell, you're killing the LGBTQ community. So, I love this picture of Cornell. It's my favorite picture of Cornell, and I'm going to keep it on the deck. I just love it. Can you imagine you go and you open the student book up and there's Cornell smiling at you like that? I just love it. I love it. And do I think that Cornell's got any chance? No. But you guys know I'll cover his campaign until it gets into the general, and then we'll reevaluate where we're at that point, right? I mean, I'd much rather vote for Cornell West than I would Trump, but at the end of the day, I am not going to risk getting stuck with Biden for another 4 fucking years. So there we are. I'm just going to say. Food assistance programs like SNAP keep millions out of poverty. The Pentagon has never passed an audit and can't account for $3.5 trillion in assets. Oh, we know it's much higher than that. So change in funding compared to 2022, Pentagon is up $76 billion and SNAP program is down $32 billion. So yeah, fuck your food stamps. We need munitions. That's where we're at in this country. More money for war, less money for food. Okay, now I got a series of couple crazy stories. So let's start out with the first one. The U.S. government raids an Amish cattle farmer, seizing his property in a shocking display of overreach. Now, I have the article for this one. Let me see if I can grab it real fast. Are we shocked that they would overreach? Come on. Especially going after the Amish? No, that's what they do. Okay, so this is one of those lettered agencies. Click here if you want to help. This was in Revolver. Americans are watching in absolute shock and horror as our government, which is supposed to fear the people, ran rod over everybody and everything deemed an enemy. Yeah, it seems to be what they're doing, whether that's President Trump, U.S. voters, J6 prisoners, Julian Assange, Douglas Mackey, conspiracy to share anti-Hillary memes. Oh yeah, that guy that shared an anti-Hillary meme and they came and arrested him. Or a harmless Amish farmer simply minding his own business. Our government has given too big for its britches. Yes, it has. And let's see. And speaking of the innocent Amish farmer, that was the story about today. A Virginia man who was raided by the government, but is fighting back and is desperate need of support. So this came with a search warrant. Let's see. He has a 100-acre farm tucked away in Virginia's heartland. I'm trying to kind of summarize this for you guys. The father of 5 had graciously invited us down to his idyllic pastures to rehash the whirlwind of unforeseen events that unfolded over the cruel summer. And so let's see. Let's get down to what they did. The government overreach began when Big Brothers discovered the health conscious all natural farmer was avoiding the sometimes rather questionable USDA. So there you are. There's the lettered agency. It's the USDA that came in and they seized all of his property. They seized all of his cattle. Now, he had 500 private customers and their families, and they were part of a buying club. And so they knew very well that their meat was 100% grass fed and 100% not USDA processed. They knew that. They knew that as a buying club. But the government still said, no, you can't do that. If it's not being, if your cows are not being slaughtered at a USDA facility, then they can shut you down. So stop what you're doing and watch this, the Virginia raid. I haven't watched this, so let's watch it.
This ain't right. We had all this meat, we worked hard to get it in the freezer, process it, package it. The next day they came with a search warrant, went through everything, house, every building in the barn, they just raided through everything. We can't touch it, we can't sell it, we can't feed our family, we can't give it away, can't feed it to dogs, we can't do anything with it. They just took it to the dump. You have to keep going because people are depending on this stuff as their medicine. I want this world to have the opportunity of finding real food.
Okay, that's like a 15-minute video, so we won't watch the whole thing, but you get the gist of it. This guy had a co-opt of people who were eating healthy food. They knew where their meat was grown, how it was processed, how it was being butchered. And because it wasn't being shipped off to be pumped up full of phosphates and mRNAs, they took it away from them, right? The milk industry is very much like this too. They try to, do unpasteurized milk and they will come take your birthday away from you. I've known people. I live very close to a dairy farm, so we see that a lot up here. Even the local stores can't carry the raw milk. You literally have to get like a permission slip saying, yes, I know it's raw milk and I'm okay with that. And they're doing the same thing with meat now. Our meat supply, we've talked about it so many times on this show. It's beyond disgusting. I'm to a point now where I'm not even eating meat. For one, I can't afford it. But for two, it's so gross. It doesn't taste like meat. It's rubbery. The consistency is not the same. I don't care if it's chicken, if it's hamburger. I don't, unless you're buying it from local sourced sources like this, you're getting whatever's pumped up with, the crap that they put into it. And I'm fortunate I have a lot of local farms around me, so I can get good grain-fed beef, but of course it has to be processed at a USDA. Okay, this is funny. So this is called trolling the banks. So you guys know in Australia, if you go and you withdraw money, you have to tell the cashier what you're going to do with it. Did you guys know that? How crazy is that? And how much fun could you have with that? So that's exactly what this TikToker did. He went around answering their questions. So let's check it out. It's kind of funny.
Draw cash in Australia, the banks want to know why, so let's go tell them the truth. How much? Around 6,000. What is it for? My missus thinks I cheated on her last week. She's doing my head in, so I need to give her some cash and a necklace. She doesn't like flowers, she just likes designer handbags and shit.
Time there?
No worries. I don't know why it's important for the bank to know, it's money.
I have to ask.
I've got to go to a beauty salon to bleach my arsehole.
Yeah, there we go.
There's a bleaching package, and yeah, they say you can make it up to 3 shades lighter. Drugs, the devil's lettuce, you would know.
That's what you want me to put jumping on?
I don't deal it personally. I just connect people together.
Whatever you do, it's your business.
What's the money for?
Yeah.
Does it matter?
We need to ask customer why.
I need it for steroids. Summer's coming up, Stereosonic festivals. I need a shred for summer. I mean, if you must know, I'm transitioning to be a woman, so I have to pay for the surgery. It's an expensive surgery. It's not covered on the Medicare.
There you go. Trolling the banks in Australia. I love when she says, what's it for? He says, oh, I'm going to bleach my asshole. He goes, and I can get it 3 shades lighter from what they told me. I mean, this is the type of mentality we have to fight back. Like, show them their hypocrisy and how stupid they really are, Of course, in America, they don't bother asking you. They just report you if you've taken more than $600 out of your bank account. Yeah. I think Oz sent me some story about the IRS the other day. What was it? I think one of their trainees might have shot somebody. I don't know. I'll go look for that story. When will this fucking insanity stop? Yeah, I don't know. God damn, it's all over. It's insane, the world we're living in. And the American dream leaving my body when I pay 3 different taxes on the same purchase. Yes, right? And then they throw those service fees in there now too. So you got to pay the taxes and the service fees, and we're just taxed to death, man. But hey, you have representation. Wink, wink. So you're not alone. Okay, this story is going to horrify you, and this viewer discretion advised. And if you're eating, I'm sorry. So all new worm has been extracted from a live patient's brain. They didn't know what it was. They thought it was a tumor, and it turned out to be a worm. They don't know what it is, and they don't know how it's still alive or the person was still alive. This is just a scary story.
And then I was able to really feel something separate. I took my tweezers or my tumor holding forceps and I pulled it out, and I thought, gosh, what is that? It's moving, take it out of my hands. And we put it in a path pot, thank goodness. And it's gone away to the scientists to find out what it was. So we immediately called the infectious diseases doctors and asked, what should we do next? It was definitely not what we were expecting. Everyone was shocked. And The worm that we found was happily moving quite vigorously outside of the brain.
This is not something that we regularly see, and the neurosurgeon will tell you as well that when you operate on someone's brain and you take a biopsy of something, you never expect to encounter something living. So it was a big, big shock to her. We certainly know in humans there are parasites that can get into the brain, which are known parasites of human beings, but something this large, 8 centimeters, and wriggling around, and something that had never before been seen in a human being was certainly something we'll never forget. And once the worm was discovered and we treated her, she left hospital and she went back to the community, went back to her home, and she's been there ever since. But obviously, because this was an unusual case at so many levels, we're keeping a close eye on her and keeping in touch. Yes, it's not something we expect to see in everyone. We have noted, however, that other snakes around the world carry this parasite. So it is quite likely that other new cases will be documented. So hopefully raising awareness of that will help other healthcare workers around the world.
So I don't know if NBC News is trying to say that.
Thanks for watching.
Shut up, Lester. I don't know if they're saying that she ate snake and that's how it got into her brain. I mean, when you understand the blood-brain barrier and how these things have got to work, these larvae to get into your brain, it has to go through your bloodstream somehow. I mean, how did it survive the digestive tract to get into the bloodstream, to get into the brain is what I want to know. And is this a new thing? Like in a year from now, are we going to have some kind of epidemic of brain-eating worms? And it's a roundworm. How the hell would a roundworm get in your brain? I could see a brain-eating amoeba. We've got those, right? They're microscopic, but not something that's this goddamn big. How did it get in there? Yeah, no, fuck no, no, fuck no. I hear you. When I saw this story, I was like, okay, we're just so screwed. We are so done. Let's see. AP wants you to know that U.S. unalive, if you know what that means, hit an all-time high last year. We're not allowed to say that S word, when somebody does themselves in on YouTube. So we just say unalive. So yeah, unaliving yourself has hit an all-time high since last year. I wonder why. Nothing to see here. Please disperse. Biden, the economy has never been this good in the history of America. Literally everybody has an empty freaking pocketbook right now, right? But hey, why is everybody unaliving themselves? We don't know. Couldn't be the propaganda or the pandemics or all of the other natural disaster shit we're living through. And then throw the economy on top of it and, houselessness and losing jobs. There's so many reasons for it, and we know it, but we just gonna pretend. Let's keep pretending. Okay, here's another gross one for you guys. Did you see this? The massive campaign to airdrop tiny rabies vaccines to raccoons. Gates, Gates is behind this one somewhere. Raccoons are the main carriers of rabies in the United States. A government effort is distributing millions of tasty vaccines to protect both animals and people. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? They're just airdropping mass inoculations. Not a big deal. I did bring the article for this, so let's check it out real fast. Bring it in. Massive airdrop. Here we go. This is Wired. Okay, so it's Wired. Let's check it out. The massive campaign to airdrop tiny rabies vaccines to raccoons. Raccoons are the main carriers. Yeah, we know that. So this August, government airplanes and helicopters have been dropping tiny parcels from the sky for raccoons to find. Each one is about the size of a ketchup pack and contains an oral rabies vaccine that coats the mouth of the animal that bites into it. The vaccine is the U.S. best-selling bet at eliminating the spread of rabies, one of the world's deadliest diseases. Do we have a lot of cases of rabies in the United States? I guess I should have looked that up. Here, let's look it up real fast. It's not something, we all grew up scared of rabies, right? Yeller got rabies, but is it something that we see on the norm in the United States? Rabies rates the U.S. Let's see what it says. Rabies rates in the U.S. 127 cases. What? From 1960 to 2018, there was 127 human rabies cases in the United States. Does that necessitate airdrops of a rabies vaccine? I'm so shocked here. And I got questions. What does it do to the animals, the other animals, right? Your cat that gets a hold of it, the dog that gets a hold of it, the baby that gets a hold of it. The bait drops along the eastern U.S. are part of a massive effort to stamp out rabies, which originally infected domestic dogs brought into North America by European settlers in the 1700s. Until 1960s, dogs accounted for the majority of the rabies rabid animals in the United States today. So rabbits, bats, skunks, foxes are the most common carrier. Well, then why aren't we dropping stuff to rabbits and bats and foxes? I'm so confused. In the U.S., human cases are rare. Typically, only a few are reported every year, but the viral infection, which is spread through a bite of an infected animal, remains a threat because it is nearly always fatal once symptoms appear. The virus is transmittable through saliva and causes inflammation of the brain and spinal cord. The rabies virus does sometimes very unusually, it seeks out the nerves and the viruses move up the nerve towards the central nervous system. Oh, so it climbs up your nervous system. Yeah, rabies is nasty. We know that. Let's see. Very few people have survived rabies without treatment worldwide. It causes about 59,000 deaths annually. Yeah, in third world countries. So why aren't they dropping the treats out there? I don't know. This is insane. So let me summarize this real fast. 90 billion vaccines they've already dropped. Between the end of July and October, the baits are scattered by low-flying planes over rural areas and by helicopters over the suburban neighborhoods. They would never use plane or helicopters to drop shit on us from the sky. That's a conspiracy theory. The packets move across a conveyor belt inside the aircraft to ensure that they are evenly distributed and then fall out of a tube in cities. Teams drive around and toss bait into bushes. Oh, so they're not just dropping them from planes. They're driving around dropping them too. Any area that looks like a raccoon habitat, we stop, said the wildlife biologist for the USDA. And about 75 baits are distributed per square kilometer in rural environments and 150 per square kilometer in urban areas. The vaccine comes in 2 flavors. Oh, that's good. They are particularly tasty to raccoons is the fish meal or the vanilla. The skunks and the fox are also meant to be tempted by the bait because they can carry rabies also. Sometimes the animals that aren't meant to eat it end up scratching them. Opossums, gray squirrels, for instance, are frequent thieves. As a program's coordinator, it's a waste of bait if the packets end up in the mouths of a non-target animal. So the government researchers are studying ways to make the vaccine less attractive to them. And there you go. That's what it looks like. It looks like a suppository. I'm just saying, shove that sucker right up their ass. It takes 8 to 9 months of planning to determine where the bait should be dropped. In order to refine the dropped out baits, we need a very strategic about making sure we know exactly where the front is. 5 or 6 weeks after the bait drop, government biologists determined whether immunity has been established in the area by going out into the field and trapping the raccoons, skunks, and foxes and sampling their blood. The animals are released as the samples are tested for the antibodies against rabies. And the U.S. Case of raccoon rabies was detected in Florida in 1947. Yeah, we know the history of it. Is that it? Nope. The bait has been effective in stopping the westward march of rabies in raccoons, and the number of raccoons infected has declined since the large-scale rollout of the oral vaccines. But rabies is rising in other wild animals, mainly bats. In 2021, we really want you to be scared of bats. for the last year for which the national surveillance data is available. Bats were the most frequently reported rabid wild species, making up 34% of cases, followed by raccoons. So we're not doing shit to the bats who carry it, but let's inoculate the raccoons. But I get it. Raccoons are around humans more. Let's see. For people, the risk of getting rabies from bats is also rising. In September and October 2021, the CDC, because we believe them, and prevention was tracking human cases, reported that 3 people in the U.S. died of rabies after exposures to bats. But the trio of cases, there has just been 3 bat-associated human rabies death in the previous 4 years. So I think we got all that. I don't need to keep going on that. You guys got the gist of it. I think you got the gist of it. They are airdropping vaccines to the raccoons now. What do you think of that? I feel so scared. You feel so cared for? You should. Your government loves you enough to actually do this, right? I mean, how many people did I say died? 127. 127 people have died, but let's spend billions on this, right? I guess if it was your dog who had rabies, you wouldn't be happy. Did you guys hear from Biden's chief liar yesterday? John Pierre. So Biden came out Monday morning and said that, yes, there is going to be a new booster. And even if you didn't get the last 2, you're getting this one. What does that mean? And you know what? Can I tell you, when they walked up on Biden, they asked him, I brought the clip on Monday. They asked him, do you have a comment about the COVID, new COVID strain and the new booster? And he goes, oh, yes, I do. And he walks over and he just rattles it off like he practiced it 5 times. It was very, very different to the time they asked him if he had a comment about Hawaii and the Maui fires, right? Oh, no comment. He didn't have anything to say. But he has something to say about the vaccine because this is planned out. This is a pandemic. So breaking, the Biden administration will soon be encouraging Americans to get an updated COVID vaccine by September.
The president said in Tahoe that he had tentatively decided to recommend everyone get the new vaccine. When is he going to decide finally?
So I think you've heard from the FDA and CDC. They've made an announcement on the new vaccine. So certainly they said that there'll be an updated vaccine mid-September, I believe. So we know that, as you all know, vaccinations against COVID-19 remains the safest protection for avoiding hospitalization, long-term health outcomes, and death, which is why we are going to be encouraging Americans to stay up to date on their vaccines.
What is up to date? Does anybody even know what the recommended up to date is? 5? Is it 5? I think it might be 5. 4 or 5. Yeah, it's funny that every one of the stories for the last 3 stories was either CDC, USDA, FDA, 3-letter agencies telling you how it's going to be, right? I don't know. Roll out the boosters. Go get your booster today. Hey, they're safe and effective, says the CDC. I don't know how the hell Pasta and Jimmy Dore are pulling what they're fucking pulling over there. Monday show, I was having a heart attack for them. I was just like, oh my God, Jimmy's going to get a strike. They had Ryan Christian on, Last American Vagabond, who is probably one of the most censored truth tellers on the internet. And you can see Jimmy was a little nervous about it, but they managed to drop a lot of truths, and I'm proud of them over there for it. But we're a small fish in a big pond, and they shut us down. So I'm not covering COVID on my shows. We are saving it up for Friday mornings, same bat time, same bat channel, except for no YouTube. Friday morning, 10 a.m., Rokfin and Rumble, and I will actually get them working this time. And we're going to do a whole uncensored COVID Friday. So there's a lot to discuss. There's a lot of misinformation out there that's coming from the government, and we'll talk about it on Friday. So let's see. Greenpeace co-founder Dr. Patrick Moreau on the genocidal intentions of net zero. Now, you guys know I hate net zero. I hate the fact that they are coming after the poorest of the poor to pay for their fucking narrative and agenda, but they don't slow down. They don't stop because, hey, they got the money to buy carbon offsets and you don't. So let's hear from Greenpeace. I want to say this is this Valuetainment? I think it might be. You can tell by the lockers in the background.
Of course we have to protect the planet. That's what feeds us.
but we also have to keep ourselves alive. And people don't understand how short a time it takes for you not to have any food before you disappear from this life, because nobody's experienced it much in recent years. But we're now facing a situation where a huge number of very powerful organizations and elites at an international and at national levels are calling for policies that are basically a suicide pact, basically a death wish of some sort. And it's true, they might not want to say it out loud, but there's a lot of people who think there's too many people. And I think that's ridiculous myself. We're quite well off now than we were before. Mm-hmm. Just 20 years ago, we're better off now with the technology and the knowledge, the science we have.
Dr. Moore, you're saying these organizations or these corporations. Who are you referring to? You're talking about the World Economic Forum? Who are you referring to?
Well, let's start there, yes.
Okay. So you probably have some choice words for Klaus Schwab, I assume?
Yeah, the guy who said we'll own nothing and be happy.
Yeah.
Can you put up his picture so people know what he looks like? He's a sweetheart. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a sad situation that we have come to. I didn't realize it could possibly ever get this serious as I've gone through like 45, 50 years of evolution with this train of thought. And when climate change first came up as an issue, I realized that we were being duped, and it was all about money. 80% of all the science research in the United States is in universities. They have basically become money milling machines, getting government grants to tell the politicians what they want.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What the politicians want is stories that make people afraid. And the scientists are the silent part of it in a way, because nobody sees the money going from the politicians to the scientists. It goes through bureaucrats at state, city, national, international levels. And that money is meant to create narratives that will scare people, and that make them easier to control. It's as simple as that.
So whether you like this guy or not, I see you, Pittsburgh dude. What he's saying, he wasn't paid off to say. He is right. These universities, they control the science. We've said this on multiple different fronts, not just climate, but COVIDia. They control the science, and therefore they can scare us with the science. So I think net zero is making the poor pay for the changes that they want, right? You don't see Kerry not flying around in his jet. You don't see Gates. Gates laughs when he got asked about it and said, oh, I could pay to offset it, so why wouldn't I? Offset it. That's just their fancy way putting it on us. And, the poorest among us, they're already hurting bad enough as it is. I saw a story yesterday. A guy tried to drive from, I think, Alberta, Canada, down to somewhere in the U.S., and he had an electric car. He only made it like 200 miles, couldn't find a place to charge it. It cost him a ton of money when he did. He ended up ditching the electric car and renting a gas-powered car to get to the U.S. That's the reality of it. But, poor people, we can't afford their smart cars, for one. I want to give a super happy shout out birthday to Lizzie. Happy birthday, Lizzie. I finally got logged into the Rokfin. Happy birthday. I hope you have a great day. You deserve lots of love, peace, friends, family, just a peace of mind. And Kate, thank you so much for the happy birthday wish for Lizzie. Happy birthday, Lizzie Brickles. Yes. Happy birthday. Okay, let's see. I think we're hitting Meme Alley now. We're going to be hitting Meme Alley very closely. Scientists who didn't predict a single thing accurately for the last 2 years, confident they will know what the weather is going to be like in 100 years. I used to buy this shit hook, line, and sinker, right? Oh my God, I live in the Pacific Northwest. We have one of the most beautiful places in the world. We have to protect it. And yeah, we do have to protect it. And we all are on this planet, but I'm done buying the narrative. Till we shut down the military industrial complex, the true polluters of the planet, I can't take anything that anybody's telling me serious. If you're not willing to call out the military for their pollutants, you're not serious. I saw a video yesterday of some climate activists in, what was it, Mulan, somewhere. I think it was Italy. Anyways, like literally just holding on to people's cars. Like, how is stopping somebody who's trying to get to work or who's trying to, get to a grandmother's house or something? How is stopping them from traveling down the highway going to change climate? How is it? It's just stupid. If you really wanted to do something, go start protesting the military when they are moving these huge convoys. Go protest the military when they're poisoning the water supplies in areas. It's just beyond stupid. I used to be a climate activist and I'm not any longer. I mean, yeah, if I see that it's legit, I'll fight for it, but I'm done attacking my neighbors, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles because of something I'm being told by the government. So purpose of predictive programming is not to tip you off or even to mock you. It is to plant inside the subconscious so future events make sense. But they have to make sense according to a specific narrative. It's kind of gets the entire population in sync with each other so they can be herded like cattle. That is what predictive programming is. And we have I end up bringing a lot of predictive programming because we talk about it, right? But to the asleep, unconscious, everyday working class American who's not paying attention, it puts it there like, oh, I should be scared. So what am I talking about? Predictive programming. Right now, we have had the last 3 weeks of there's a new COVID variant. It's very scary. It's killing people, and you should be scared. But don't be that scared because there's a new booster coming out. I mean, that they plant those seeds right there, right? But they have to plant them to where they can keep control of the narrative. And that's what they do. We see it all the time. Western governments do attack their own people. Why? So they can incite a state of emergency and manage their populations. They can sanction or restrict or add new laws. They can remove the removal of civil freedoms and liberties, a state of fear resulting in public obedience, compliance, and servitude. Justification for illegal wars in foreign countries. Yep. If you research, it's a false flag, attack, strategy of tension, or a psyop, right? Step back, become informed, and join millions of Americans around the globe who are waking up to the reality right now. You will never find the truth on TV or via a mainstream media station. So use online alternative media and question everything. Question everything, even stuff I tell you question, because I don't know how many times I have had information on a topic and I find out something totally different. So question everything, question everybody, even the people you love to watch, right? Okay, we're getting close to out of here, but I wanted to bring this up. I came across this on my Facebook. So it turns out some blood-sucking ambulance chasers are coming after Kratom because, they sent the FDA after us and we shut their asses down. And they sent the DEA after us and we shut them back too. And now they're just like, well, we'll get some blood-sucking attorneys to file a class action lawsuit against the manufacturers of Kratom. So that's how they're trying to hurt Kratom right now. Many of you guys know I am a recovering opiate addict. If it wasn't for Kratom, I would not be here and I would be dead. I would have died of a fentanyl overdose many years ago. I already know that. And I think this is disgusting. And I let them know that they were disgusting for doing this. But, hey, if the public sector can't get you, the private can. That's the point. So if you are interested in Kratom, go check out the To Hell and Back episodes that Craig Pasta Jardula and I did couple years back. It'll give you all the info. And that's it. We made it to the meme alley. Meme alley. I need some music to go with meme alley. Somebody send me a tune. We need a tune for meme alley, right? Okay, here's your first one. Me trying to work out what's happening in the world through memes after I refuse to watch the news. And that is why we have Meme Alley here at the trailer park, because, hey, we are a culture that now speaks in short little memes. Is there a tax I can pay to stop COVID-19, or does that only work for climate change? That one's pretty funny. Come on, that one's funny, because that's what net zero is, right? Pay a tax and you don't have to worry about it, for sure. Is this how Biden got all of his damn cars to Hawaii? Remember when I was asking how the hell he got that motorcade there? Well, this makes sense. Never forget the world's elites puts millions dollar limousines on $1 billion jet to fly around the world to tell you to reduce your carbon footprint. Yes, yes. I love that Trump meme. Trump. Okay, moving on. Trump. Yes, they need a padded room for sure. All those down in the TDS, and it just seems to get worse, right? It almost have stages. And let's see. Do you ever want to just walk up to somebody and just, yeah, sometimes. And when the gas station is out of Pall Mall light menthols. Oh my God. My mother-in-law or my stepmom, she smoked Pall Mall menthol lights. That's hilarious. But you could just go down to the store with a note and they give them to you, right? Me investigating someone's life just because they reacted to my meme. Yeah, come on. I admit it. I do. Somebody reacts to something and I don't know who they are. I go take a look. Things nobody said in 1980. I lost my phone. Yeah. Who could lose that thing? And if you did lose it, you just pulled on the cord till you found it, right? I can still hear the ding when you slam that thing down, you know? I got to tell you, that's one thing I really miss about cell phones is the dramatic slamming down of the phone. You can actually hear it ding in your ear when somebody hung up on you because now it's just all ding. You know, it's not as good. It doesn't work out as well. Imagine, if you will, a society where people who cannot grasp the inherent rights of the individuals passively allowing corporations to control all of us. Yes. Can you imagine? I can't imagine. We live in that reality. And this is your gardening meme for the day. Me coming home with 2 new plants after being sent to buy some milk. I have a plant addiction and it is really bad. And I'm going out to play in the yard as soon as I'm done here. I got some new dirt and I can't wait to get stuff potted. I'm going to get some indoor stuff ready to start growing for the winter. We're going to do some indoor grow up. And this is your Assange. Let's see. Did you guys know Bryan Adams is fighting for Assange? You know, summer of 69, Bryan Adams. If you'd like to help free Julian Assange, here is how you can help. So he's got a link there. You can go over to his Facebook page. And of course, Stella retweeted it and thanked him. Free Assange emergency toolkit. These things are awesome. I have a couple of them. How to write your elected representatives, how to write Assange. There's just so much good information in these toolkits. So go get one if you have it. And you can write Assange. There's his address. Just screenshot it while he's still in Belmarsh for the time being. And that is the one I got to fix. I keep telling you guys, I have a graphic. I always miss it. It's the Assange on Wednesday. Okay. Assange on Wednesday needs fixed because I have different decks for every day. So. And Joey's Coffee. If you like some Joey's Coffee, please reach out to Oz. It is the best coffee in the world. And I don't just say that because I love Joey and Oz. It truly is. Joey brought her know-how over from China, and she knows how to make some coffee, let me tell you. Tomorrow night, guys, we got a big movie night. I hope you join me. We are doing our first ever Beauty and the Boomer movie mystery night. And we're starting out with the film noir series. And we are covering Meet John Doe, a penniless drifter. Gary Cooper is recruited by an ambitious colonist, Barbara Steinweg, to impersonate a non-essential person who said he'd be committing YouTube censorship, unalive as a protest. Okay, he's committing unalive as a protest, and a social movement begins. Now, I've never seen this movie. I am super excited for it, and I hope you guys will come hang out. Of course, it'll be on Rokfin and Rumble and Kick, no YouTube, and tomorrow night, 7 p.m. on all of the alternative channels. You can come hang out with Beauty and the Boomer as we do movie night. Movie night's always fun. And then, of course, Beauty and the Boomer on Saturday is cowboy themed. I'm going to have to bust out my cowboy hat. That'll be fun. Yeah. Yeehaw. We're going to have a stampeding good time. Actually, I'm looking forward to that. And let's see. If you want to help me out, no more GoFundMe. Fuck GoFundMe. We are doing Spot Fund. You can go ahead and just screenshot that, or you can hit the link tree in the description below And that's how you can help me out. Plus, you guys know there's a ton of different ways you can help me out. There's the PayPal, there's the Patreon, there is Buy Me a Coffee / Trailer Park. They're all in the descriptions below. Good morning, Amber. Good to see you. Fall garden season is in. I know. I got to get out there and get some work done. I've been battling bees though, so we took some bees on yesterday. I couldn't go play outside. Denver Attaway, glad you found me over on the Rokfin. I am so sorry to everybody who tried to log into Rumble or Rokfin. Soxo Voxovix, thanks for joining us. Jim, good to see you. Everybody else who managed to find me over on the Rokfin after I finally did get it up and running. Kick, I don't see you on, Dingo says. Dingo ate me baby says, hey, I don't see you on Rumble. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I effed it up. It was my bad. My bad. Okay, guys, I think that's everything today. Let me shout out the YouTubes and we'll get out of here. Baby Yoda, good to see you. SFT, so glad you made it in today. Indy, somebody let me know what's going on with our schedule with Indy, because I'm supposed to go hang out with the peeps at Indy. I'm excited for that. Oh, Friday, I'm doing Misty Winston's show, so I will do her TNT radio. And I'm also scheduled to hang out with the Willie Bragg show. I'm excited for that too. So, but that won't be till September. Anthony, glad to see you. Hi, Snow Leopard. Hi, Peace Stuff. So glad you made it. Anthony, Son of Clay is here. Kagi, traveling the USA. How is Gates still walking around? How is he? I know. We're so passive. We're so passive as a population, 100 years from now, people wouldn't have put up with the shit we're putting up with for sure. Somebody like Gates wouldn't be out there just walking around. He'd have full bodyguards, right? Go Start. Good to see you. Lady Alex M. Always good when you stop by the chat. I got Peace Stuff, right? I don't want to leave anybody out. Ozzy, so good to see you. Peace Dude 87. I am so glad you're here. And everybody else who came by. Al Walski, Al, I'm so glad to see you. And thank you, Al, so much for helping us cover our YouTube premium so we don't have to watch ads. We appreciate it. Salty's Digital Dive, always good to have you in the chat. And, this show doesn't happen without you guys. It really doesn't. I mean, this is our community. You send me the links. I just bring them. Hello, Kill Your Air. I had this word down. I had it down again yesterday. Egregorse, I guess. I don't know. Good to see you though. Look up that word, you guys. That's a really important word. It's a cognitive thought that comes together. Like it manifests because we're thinking it, right? So yeah. Egregorse. Okay. Egregorse. It's a crazy word. But yeah, we need to kill our egregores. I agree. Close enough. I'm working on my Spanish. I started working on my Spanish this week. Oh my God. I found a friend who lives in, where does she live? Ecuador. And I've known her for a long time. And I was like, I need somebody to help me practice my Spanish. She's like, I'll help you. And she's a teacher. So I need somebody that can help me enunciate. My enunciation, maybe it's because I don't hear really well. I can't get enunciation down. So I'm working on Spanish. Yeah. Did my recipes make any sense to you? Yes, Kate. Amber says they did. They made sense. So please send me your recipes. Send Amber your recipes. You send them to Roar Media. You can send them to any of our email addresses, or you can just DM to us on any of the platforms, and I will make sure they get where they need to go. Okay, we're out of here, and we got a good closer this morning. Cult of Personality. Missy got me wanting to play this one for you guys because she dropped it on Friday, and I will be back. Let's see. Join us tomorrow night for movie night. I will be back Friday morning for Uncensored, and then we will see you for Beauty and the Boomer Saturday night, normal time. You guys have a great day, and just help each other out, man. Just be kind, help each other where you can. There's enough evil in the world. Let's be good. And I'm dropping truths like beats. I will see you again tomorrow.
So stop.